I asked my boyfriend's dad whether he planned on eating his pet cat. So I've been dating Trevor for about 5 months, and he finally invited me to meet his parents. He's 26 and I'm 19, which honestly hasn't been a big deal until that lunch happened. The whole week before, he kept saying his parents were quote-unquote a little different, and I figured he meant like quirky or whatever. I was so wrong. We met at this Chinese restaurant, and right away his mom Paula kept calling me kiddo and asking if I needed help reading the menu. I have a college degree. I can read a menu. His dad Kenneth just sat there with this smirk like he was watching a show. Every time I said anything, they'd exchange these looks like I was some toddler who just said something dumb. About 20 minutes in, Kenneth asks what I do for fun, and I mentioned I have 2 pet rabbits named Peanut and Butter. I know it's corny, but they're adorable, and I've had them since high school. Kenneth literally laughed and goes, "Are you raising them for meat, or are they just expensive lawnmowers?" Paula giggled. Trevor didn't say anything, which should have been my first red flag. I was so done at that point. I looked at their fat orange cat sitting on the chair next to Kenneth, and I just said, "Well, are you planning on eating that cat?" The whole table went silent. Kenneth's face got red, and he leaned forward and told me not to talk back to adults. Adults, like I'm some kid in detention. Then he said something about respecting my elders and knowing my place. I excused myself to go to the bathroom because I was about to either cry or throw soy sauce at him. When I came back, I was gonna tell Trevor we needed to leave, but I heard them talking, and I stopped behind this decorative screen thing near our table. Kenneth was telling Trevor that I had a mouth on me, and Paula said I seemed immature for my age, which is hilarious coming from people who spent an hour making fun of a teenager. Then Kenneth said something that made my blood freeze. He goes, "You know, during the recession back in 2009, we actually did eat a cat. Not that one, obviously. We had this stray that kept hanging around, and your mother and I were broke and desperate. Wasn't half bad with enough seasoning." I thought he was joking, some sick way to prove a point about me being disrespectful. But Paula just nodded and said it was a rough year and you do what you have to do. Trevor didn't say anything. He didn't sound shocked. He didn't sound disgusted. He just sat there. I walked back to the table and asked if we could go. Trevor paid and we left. In the car, I asked him if his dad was serious about eating a cat, and he got defensive. He said I embarrassed him in front of his parents and that I needed to learn how to take a joke. I told him his dad literally admitted to eating a cat, and he shrugged and said times were tough back then. And it's not like it was someone's pet. It was absolutely someone's pet. It was a stray, which means it was a cat, a living animal, and his parents ate it. We got to my apartment and I told him I needed space. He said I was overreacting and that his parents were just messing with me to see if I could handle their sense of humor. I asked him if he knew they ate a cat before he brought me there, and he said, yeah, he knew. He said his parents like to tell that story to people to see how they react. It's like a test. A test. He brought me to meet his parents knowing they'd be rude and knowing they'd bring up eating an animal just to see what I'd do. And when I reacted like any normal person would, he acted like I failed. I told him to leave. He tried to argue, but I physically pushed him toward the door and locked it behind him. He texted me for 3 days saying I was being dramatic and that I clearly wasn't mature enough to handle an adult relationship. An adult relationship with a guy who thinks it's normal that his parents ate a cat and uses that as some weird loyalty test for his girlfriends. I blocked him everywhere.